Ladies and gentlemen, it is imperative that every individual is given the chance to live their lives to the fullest of their potential. Consider a 19-year-old lady who has been denied educational facilities, denied career opportunities simply because of her gender, who has been brought up to throughout nearly 2 decades to understand that the only thing she's good for is rearing children and performing household chores because that is how society deems to see her fit. The fact that the male domination of the society is repeatedly justifying the abuse of women. So, whenever she goes, wherever she goes, however she behaves, she's continuously commoditized by either her father or her husband or the society as a whole. This is a scenario where the lady has been denied education, disallowed any chance of pursuing an intellectual career. She has never ever been allowed to choose anything for herself. This is a society where just because a person is female, they have to live in constant fear of societal abuse in various forms, as well as getting blamed for the abuse, or even as though they are the victim. All the while, never having an opportunity to speak out, never getting out of this oppressive circle, never being able to say enough is enough. This is a society where her very birth is considered a curse, and even their very parents are pitted against them from that very moment on. We believe that it is fundamentally wrong that in addition to have handicapped her socially, she is not provided a way out. We believe that at the very least, she should get a choice to leave it all behind in hopes of a brighter tomorrow. Registering as a mail order bride will offer her at least a chance to disavow those chains the society intends to put on her, give her a chance to uphold her rights of choice, and to change the social perspective of considering her as a liability. Now, in this regard, we propose to you a very basic standpoints. A. Upholding the choice of freedom, and B. The amount of contribution that she will be able to make if the bill is passed. The latter point will be further explained by my second speaker. And moving on to my first constructive, upholding the freedom of choice of these oppressed women. You see, presently, the women in these contextual societies are viewed as completely inefficient individuals, incapable of providing for themselves, and thus incapable of making their own choices. However, the moment the lady stands up and says, "You know what? I refuse to be bound down by your chauvinistic ways," and goes on to register herself as a mail order bride, is when a very revolutionary idea arises that women perhaps are not so dependent. Perhaps they are indeed individuals capable of fending for themselves. Now, talking about why they would want to become mail order brides, we tell you they are incentivized in terms of a higher standard of living, B, possible career or educational opportunities, and for C, which is the most important, they would be more respected as people, and they would not simply be commoditized, they would not simply be objectified because they are women. Rather, they would get a fair chance to be judged as a person. Now, moving on to the first point, a higher standard of living. You see, they are. This is something that the women are not easily choosing. They want to get out of their homes. They want to get out of the society that they have been brought up into. They are willing to leave their homes, which has been their homes for the last 2 decades. Now, this is a choice that is not likely been taken. She has been abused. She has been uh, wronged to such a point where she has lost it all. She has nothing to lose, and therefore is willing to move to a country that offers more glamorous lifestyle, to take the risk of going and choosing a husband who, well, chooses you in spite of various cultural differences, and therefore who prefers you to the women that he has seen all around him. So you see, they are basically desperate enough to take certain risks that would allow them to move to a lifestyle that they deserve and yet have been denied for so very long. Secondly, they have a possible career or educational opportunities. you see, to many of these women, to most of these women, education, let alone an intellectual career, is something of a myth, since they have grown up seeing their mothers, who did not go to school, sisters did not go to school, friends did not go to school, pretty much every female they knew were deprived of education. And therefore, it is only natural that they would want to avail the opportunities so easily available in a foreign land. And coming to my third point, which is they would be more respected as people. They would get an opportunity to not live their lives as an oppressed liability, rather as a person on equal footing with the men. You see, in Western countries, say in America, the minute the woman is abused, the minute she says that, yes, you know what, I'm being abused, save me, the society, the legal system, the neighborhood would rise up to come to her aid at the very moment she speaks up. This is something that is completely fundamentally different from the village she is coming from. So you see, this is the biggest thing that uh, would improve in her favor. We say that she would be getting a more economic stability, she would be getting a higher social security, she would be less judged socially for her every action, and therefore, you see, what would happen is, we're not saying that she would be simply be stepping into a utopian world simply by offering herself as a mail order bride. Rather, we say that she, in spite of running the risks of getting a jerk of a husband, she would be allowing herself more opportunities to basically avail better securities, to avail an opportunity to say enough is enough, I do not conform to your chauvinistic ways. That is the choice that she would be making. So you see, we say, what do we tell you? We tell you that the women would be upholding their freedom of choice. They would have a right to choose a better life socially, economically, romantically, compared to the third world conditions she's living in. The men in this tend to be bastards, at least the one is her socioeconomic bracket. She would be taking an informed choice by consenting adult. Nobody is coercing her, and additionally, no future education and home exists in their country. Her ability to self-determine is maximized in the other country, in the Western country, as being part of an informed choice. How, on the other hand, staying in her home country means oppression economically, physically, socially, not for herself, for her future generation as well. It's an unending abyss, basically. So, even first of all, why the women and men are better? Because they would be under, they would not just be every Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to marry a poor lady who has been oppressed. Rather, these are people who have undergone psychological profiling and verification of criminal records and stuff, and therefore, the safest possible environment is provided to these women. And therefore, we believe that this would be facilitate the women, a, by offering her a choice to get out of the oppression, number b, the increase of social security for her, and c, mm, posing to the society that these women are capable of taking their own decisions, and therefore we are proud to propose.